Alright, this video is for the installation of this 14-inch light bar. In the video, you're going to notice that I start off referencing this switch and holding this switch in my hand when I'm doing the wiring. This switch was originally installed here and was for the 14-inch LED light bar. Later on, I ordered this switch and used it in place of this switch, and I used this switch when I ordered a kit that came with these two floods that I put there and a 12-inch light bar that I mounted back here in the back. Now they came as a whole kit with the relay, wiring, and actually included this switch, which I used for this dome light that I installed up here. So during part of the video, I'm holding this switch and showing you the back of it and how it needs to be wired. And then later in the video, I reference the Sasquatch Switch. So the switches wire the same, and the installation was the same for the light bar regardless. Whichever one you hear or see me holding or hear me reference, the installation is the same. So I hope it doesn't confuse you, but I just wanted to clarify that, you know, there are a few discrepancies and a few variations in what I'm referencing in the video, and that's why. 14-inch light bar that I installed. This is a Harbor Freight light bar. It's more expensive than the ones you can get off Amazon, but at the time I bought it, I had a bunch of discounts and stuff, so I got it pretty cheap. I had to order these brackets separately to be able to mount it right here before this turn starts. So once I got these brackets, that worked great. I took the brackets that came with it, bolted them to these brackets the way you see here, and that turned out perfect. Anytime you're doing a clamp like this, you want to try to keep them equidistant, same space in the front as in the back. That's what I tried to do. It comes with a plug and then a pigtail, and it comes with these mounting brackets. I ordered this wiring harness also off of Amazon. There'll be a link below. And it's got the relay, the switch, and everything we need in it. It comes with different fuses. It comes with some connectors, so that's nice. The switch, and the switch lights up, and it comes with a 15 amp fuse inside of here. It's already wired and sealed here. And then this comes back. They've got a connector in it. This is all already done for you, and it seems to be pretty nicely done. So I'm going to likely leave this end intact, and if I end up shortening this, I'll just do away with this connector and splice it the length I need somewhere back up the run here. So you got a 4mm Allen head and a 10mm wrench for the screws and nuts, bolts and nuts that come out of these two. 4mm Allen head for these bolts. Once that's out of the way, you got a bolt here, bolt here. Offset screwdriver works really well on these screws here where all these brackets are in the way. Bolt here, and then under the dash in the front you have a bolt back here, and then underneath you have one there. You have one here on the other side. You have 4 total where the head unit thing is. And then 2 more on the other end down there. That's all the bolts to get that out. When you go to take this out, you're going to push it toward the back of the vehicle, lift up, it'll pop out, and then you gotta kind of come. I think I had to take the passenger side back to get it completely out. It's not difficult at all. All right, so what I ended up doing is I've got the pigtail that comes off of the light, and the nice weatherproof connector that it has. I just put regular spade style connectors on there, and I'm going to heat shrink these. So the way I did these is I reversed them so that you can't connect the red wire to the black wire and vice versa by just reversing which terminal was where on the ends of the wires. So I'll heat shrink all that when I get done showing y'all this. So, and I decided to go ahead and just mount the relay on the left side over here. I just drilled a hole through here and used one of these plastic rivet thingies and mounted it right there. I ran through here and back here, and I just kept the whole harness that they had for the low current side, everything for the control circuit. I drilled a hole in the side of the glove compartment and used one of those push-in tie wraps. Has a push-in base, and I just kept the entire harness there. To pop those those covers out, there's just the 2 tabs back here. You just squeeze them and push the thing forward. Mine flew off back behind the seat somewhere back over there. My 12-volt lead wires, I'm running them right in where they're laying, and the negative's gonna come back and connect to the negative, and the positive's gonna make it all the way over there. I happen to have some lock nuts that I'm gonna put here once I wire this in the rest of the way. And then what I did here to accommodate this pigtail coming off the light, I planned for this to ride right there, okay? And so what I did was I just notched this cowl cover accordingly to accommodate that. So it's going to look nice and clean. It wasn't a big deal. Looks kind of gnarly in the camera, but it turns out it looks good when it's in place. I used a Dremel tool, and I used a rotary, like a rotary zip bit to start with, and then I finished it with a rat tail file. And that's gonna, I mean, it looks really nice when it's sitting in there. Okay, so white on this harness is 12 volts constant. Black is ground, and blue is your switch leg. Okay, so the only reason you need to connect black to terminal 8 up here is if you want illumination. If you don't want illumination, you don't need to connect this black wire at all. So you want the 12 volts on the middle. You're going to put the 12 volts here, and you're going to put your runner here. Okay, and so what happens then, if you put your negative up here, then when you switch it, you get the LED telling you that illuminating, saying that it is on. And so if you turn the ignition off, you know, you're going to see that the lights are on. If you put it on the ignition circuit, then they'll turn off when you turn the ignition off. And I don't want that. I want them to be able to come on at any time, so I'm going to wire them straight to the battery like I've got it temporary wired right now. This is just your lower illumination. So upper and lower in these instructions is referring to the light on the switch. This light or this light. Upper light, lower light. So on indicator and just normal indicator. So with that configuration there, you keep this on as long as your source is on. So we got a little rat in the background. So what I've determined is black is an ignition 12 volts once the ignition is turned on. I'm going to pull this black right here that I pulled off of this damn annoying ass backup relay. I'm going to tap into that because I really don't want to cut into this, but I'm going to do something to make sure that the connector I put in there stays in there, and I'm going to use that to feed my switches. Kill a rat. So I'd like to have them illuminated with the rest of the stuff, you know, on the dash. I didn't have any small spade connectors, so what I did, you see that indentation in the middle of that? I took my dikes, these, and I laid them right down that indentation, and I cut it, and then I cut an angle right across here. And I crimped that on a piece of black wire, and I plugged that in there, and it fits, and it's snug. And I decided to go ahead and bend it, and I'm going to tape this all together, tie wrap it and tape it so that it can't come out of there. Then the tape will keep it from shorting anywhere. The leads that came with my Sasquatch Switch already had some jumpers made. So there was a couple red ones and a black one. I used the black one since we're running a black wire to keep with the, I know it doesn't matter, but to keep with the color coding on this thing. It already had a jumper on there for me to get from one switch to the other. I put a connector, a female connector on this end. The jumper had one male, so I've got some heat shrink tubing. So once now that I've got that connected, I'm going to take the heat shrink tubing, slide over it, and I'll shrink that up, make it nice and snug, keep anything from shorting out, and then that'll be my feed for this side that's powered from the ignition switch. Nice and easy, and nice to have that available to access. Ideally, you'd use the correct size connector, but it's not going to matter. I'm going to make sure it's nice and secured with electrical tape. So I taped the crap out of it, and I've got it tucked down behind this so it can't move or get battered around. It's going down under there, comes up over here, and I'll end up just tie wrapping it up with the rest of the stuff that I cut earlier. See, I'm going to the bottom right on both of those. So the way I have mine wired, there's nothing on with the ignition switch off, but I can still use all these lights. I can turn all my additional lighting on without the switch being on. So if I have those off and I turn the ignition switch on, then they illuminate at the bottom, and of course they still work and illuminate at the top. The bottom just stays illuminated all the time as long as the ignition's on. You see, you have to have ground on the top. So the middle connector, you see there's white wire, and that's your constant voltage. And then the bottom one is your switch leg. That's a blue wire in the case of that harness. There's only one middle connector, it's on the left, and that's where your constant 12 volt power needs to be if you want them to be able to be turned on when the ignition is off. And then on the bottom is your switch leg, that blue wire you see here. And on the bottom right is my ignition power source. So when the ignition key gets turned on, power shows up at that bottom right terminal, and there's ground at the top right terminal, and that will turn on the bottom light on the switch, the descriptor. On the left side, on the top, you have ground. The middle, you have your constant voltage, and the lower left, you have your switch leg. With this configuration, if you have the switch off and no ignition power on, you can turn the switch on and it will pass current and illuminate the top of the switch. If you turn the ignition on and the switch is off, the lower light illuminates as soon as you turn the ignition switch on. And obviously the switch still passes current to the light bar. So that's the way I wanted it, because I wanted to be able to have these lights on even without the ignition on. I have no fear that I'm going to forget to turn them off. If you would rather have it all fed through your ignition so that when you turn the ignition switch, all of it goes out, then where that white wire is connected on this one in the middle left, you would connect your ignition hot. So your ignition feed would go there, and you would jumper it to the bottom right terminal that has the black wire down on the bottom down there. Okay, so you would jumper from the middle center to the bottom right with your switched ignition power feed. Switch legs still be in the same place, and your grounds will still be in the same place. And hopefully that's confused you well enough. That's low beams, that's high beams. There's a significant difference. That's a 14-inch light bar. Harbor Freight. Alright, so that's the high beams. That's the low beams. That's low beams with the flood. Have a good day.